reflections and discussion which led to a number of developments that we briefly share each other. The first thing we looked at the model that the Muslim Ummah has been using, which is, if we like, we can call it the Ikhwani model or the Mawdudian model, that work towards establishing Islamic government and all things will be equal. And so the whole thinking is towards establishing a government, using the government to change the society. So we need a president that is a Muslim, with Islamic consciousness, we need senators, we need House of Representatives, we need this and that, we need a governor, and the moment we have a governor, Sharia will be established, and then all our socio-economic problems will be addressed. This has been the thinking, and we have been working on this. Alhamdulillah, this is what we have learned from our teachers and our elder brothers. It has worked for us to some extent. But we felt that while pursuing this, while going towards establishing, changing the society through the government, is there any other thing we can do? Are there other important things we are supposed to be doing that we are not doing? We looked at, for example, our brothers in other parts of the Muslim world. We looked at, for example, the Ikhwani itself, that was struggling towards establishing an Islamic state. But we realized that they used their own Muslim intellectual scholars like the Sheikh Yusuf al-Qardawis of this time, and they developed new models of approaching this system. Is it the government that will bring economic and educational development? Or is it economic development or economic consciousness and at least some human development that will lead to better society that can now have a better governance system?
So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In line with what he has been saying, yes, government is the prime mover of the society. Does it mean that if the government is not doing anything, others will just fold arms and continue looking, watching helplessly, praying, maybe? No. Every person, every individual has his own responsibility. And that is the concept of many verses of the Holy Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Allah is saying, Huwa ansha'akum minal ardi wasta'amarakum fiha. In another verse, Allah is saying, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. In another verse, is saying, there are many verses anyway, that are enjoying. Everyone should look around and see what he himself can do. You will wait for the government. Now, if the government didn't come, does not mean that you will continue waiting until perhaps you wait no more. Now, considering the capabilities we have been having within the Muslim society, can you say that you don't exploit such kind of potentialities? You do. We have all fields of specialization within us here. So every one of us should look around and see what he can deliver and what he can do for Islam. There is an hadith which the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said, كُلُّ قَائِمٍ عَلَى صَغْرَةٍ. A poet has paraphrased that hadith saying, فَلْيَنْتَلِقْ كُلُّ فَرْدٍ حَسْبَ ذَاقَتِهِ يَسُدُّ صَغْرَتَهُ سِرًّا وَإِعْلَانًا وَلْنَتْرُكِ اللَّوْمَ لَا نَجْعَلْهُ عُدَّتَنَا وَلْنَجْعَلِ الْفِعْلَ قَبْلَ الْقَوْلِ مِيزَانًا. Yeah, so this derived us that with what we have, we should look around and see what we can do for ourselves. As a result of that, we developed some models since 2010, and that is what we have been doing in Gombe. Notably, Alhamdulillah, Gombe is having a good history of Muslim student society movement, and we are capitalizing on that to achieve many of the objectives that we have outlined.
Actually, the first thing we did was to form the new concept discussion forum, which Dr. Sadiq will brief us about. But what informed the formation of this forum is the need to have a platform for discussing and debating and reviewing our thoughts, our understanding of the meaning of Islamic work and the dynamics of Islamic work. We felt that some of us have read some books. We have read books from the international, movers of the Islamic movement in Arabic, in English. We have read also from our fathers and elder brothers, you know, Dr. Usman Bugaje, Mala Ibrahim Suleiman, A Revolution in History, the Sokoto model, and so on and so forth. And we have been inspired by this. But we felt that, okay, we need to take this thing to the next level through discussions amongst us. And we looked at, as I was saying, we saw, for example, in Indonesia, Muhammadiyah movement will be a movement that has many universities. It doesn't wait for the government to establish such universities. We have seen successful Islamic foundations globally. We have seen, for example, the IIIT, International Institute of Islamic Thought. It doesn't belong to a government anyway. We have seen, for example, An-Nur Waqf in Malaysia, where millions, you know, of dollars are used, are created, are used to support the society through a waqf. We have seen the Hamdard Foundation in Pakistan, in India, and Indonesia. So we have seen what these are doing. We came back to Nigeria and we saw that, look, yes, the Ummah, for example, has been in existence since the 1980s. The MSS has been there since 1954. So Muslims have actually been discussing their problems. The Sharia movement came, but then we realized that despite all these efforts, yet if you look at the indices of poverty, the Muslims are in the back, at the back seat. If you look at, you know, education, we are at the tail end of the educational caravan. Socio-economically, politically, we are backward. We looked at what the Christians are doing. We have the same president, the same governors, we live in the same country, yet they have forged ahead and left us behind. We said there is something they are doing that we are not doing, which at least will reduce the level of the problems we are facing.
Yes, Al-Mutanabbi is saying, "Walam arafi uyubi nasi aiban kanaqsil qadirina ala tamami." We have many capacities, we have many capabilities, but are we using them to change the nearest society in which we are? That's why we developed a new concept, Roundtable, which is a think tank organization for community development. Let's discuss, let's share ideas, let's differ, let's disagree, and then agree. Let's see what we can do within our capabilities. There is this Stephen Covey, an American, died with a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the habits he mentioned in his book, he said, you have to be proactive. Proactive means whatever you can do, just look at within your cycle of influence. What can you deliver? If you understand what you can deliver, then start from there. No complain. If you are complaining, you will complain and continue complaining, and nothing will change. So, but look around you and see what you can do. Is it sweeping your street? Just do it. Is it cleaning the house? Is it whatever? Just look at the value you will add. And from there, the society will change. And the pioneers of change are saying, change doesn't come in a wholesome state. Change starts with me. Change yourself. It means you are changing the world. So therefore, we establish a new concept, Roundtable, whereby we meet monthly and discuss on a topic. Since 2010, we have met several of such discussions. And after a while, we said, okay, let's move into another level. We fashioned a project, a book project, which we published. Some of us, some of the scholars within us, we said, okay, let's bring a workable model. You are an expert in finance. Just give us a community development model where there is no government, where you are in a Sahara desert, whereby there is no way you can even live or survive. So how do you, what are the survival techniques? You are an engineer. What do you present to us? We had several fields of that, and we have come up with such kind of presentation, and we have published it in a book. Now, that is theoretical.
So the issue is, we were also not only inspired by the Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or Principle-Centered Leadership or the 8th Habit. We were also inspired by our own our own scholars in the Islamic movement in Nigeria. Dr. Usman Bugaje will always say, I remember he has repeated this, and it has become, if he doesn't know probably, among us we always repeat this statement, that Muslims in Nigeria think that they will be given what they deserve.
and that in the real world, you only get what you negotiate for. And the currency for that negotiation is power. But he goes on to say, power doesn't mean political power only. It means intellectual power. It means economic power. It means, so we have to develop ourselves from within. And this is what we do in New Concept Discussion Forum. We discuss issues of religion, of da'wah, of technology, of, al-Majri problem, of whether we need even to think about the Muslim Ummah. These are the issues we discuss. And the good thing is, this has led to a number of developments, including the formation of NIBRAS, entrepreneurship cooperative society, because we agreed in one of the discussions that one of the areas the Muslim Ummah is lagging behind is the issue of economy. We have not done much in economy, and we agreed that there is a need for specialized da'wah. Our Islamic organizations do everything, jack of all trades, master of none. So if you are talking of orphanage, it is the same organization. It goes on rural da'wah, new combat, orphanages, hospitals, and so on and so forth. But we need to specialize da'wah. We need professionalized da'wah also. And that was what led to the formation of organizations like NIBRAS and many others that Dr. Sadiq will talk about.
So in NIBRAS, what we do is that we looked at the society is having two problems. One, those that have at one end, and they have not on the other end. We said, okay, why can't we just come in the middle? Use some of the experiences that we have. Some of us were bankers. Let's use this idea so that we can pull this one, bring the money, give it to us, we will give this one. As a result of that, we started giving women a kind of interventions which help them in doing their businesses. Okay, in doing their businesses, we give soft loans that are interest-free. We do training. We do collaboration. One of the trainings we did was in collaboration with International Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, Bayero University, Kano, here in this hotel. So we brought all the bankers around and workers of the microfinance society so that they can be trained on Islamic finance. We feel it's a kind of solution that Islam now brings to the world, and therefore that has to be popularized. And with that knowledge, people will be able to know, and we should bring in. And we have seen in the constitution of the Muslim Ummah, even though we are coming to the aspect of the Muslim Ummah constitution in a minute, but we have seen that one of the objectives of the Muslim Ummah in the constitution is that it should develop Islamic alternatives in all fields.
Interestingly also is the fact that from the New Concept Discussion Forum, of course what we do is it is a monthly group discussion, and we bring a topic and discuss. And is in a semi-formal way we do the discussion. And whenever we have a visitor from any part of Nigeria, we invite him and he makes a presentation and we engage him with questions. Dr. Usman Bugaje, Professor Salisu Shehu, many other scholars and elder brothers who came to Gombe for one or two programs, including the Amir of the Majlis, the chair Majlis Shura. He also participated in the New Concept Discussion Forum. Now the issue is, while we were doing this in a small group of about 25 participants, we felt some of the ideas we developed need to be taken to the next level, which is the implementation level. But we said this is a think tank. At least it helps us in shaping our own understanding of issues, but then we need to take it to the next level, dissemination. And that was what led to the publication of the book, and we are working on the second book, inshallah. And then also importantly, we felt, okay, we have another Islamic NGO, the CYD in Gombe, which is Community and Youth Development. Professor Siraj, Dr. Usman Bugaji, and others established it when I was met the coordinator of Gombe about some years back, more than a decade. And we said CYD has three important pillars: economy, education, and politics. We said in Gombe there are others working on the political aspect, so we said education and economy. And we say we did a lot in this CYD, but importantly is the fact that we say, okay, we will introduce a CYD discussion forum, which is a panel discussion that we invite people. So it's a bigger discussion, and many people have followed us from different states. And we discuss issues. Some of the ideas we develop in New Concept will now be disseminated through a better discussion, debates, and engagements, and people follow. So we invite more people to the discussion. The good thing is it also led to a very important development.
But why are we talking about discussions? Yes, you need discussions, you need ideas. Any society that doesn't have thinkers, it means this society will naturally die. You need to have thinkers who look at the society, diagnose the problem of the society, and prescribe solution for the problems in the society. So therefore, we need discussion. In our societies, you don't even disagree, just an ordinary disagreement. If Mala Abdullah is my friend or he's my brother, I can't afford to disagree with him. It's wrong. All this platform that we have, we said, okay, please, we are disagreeing to agree. If it is my point, that's why we are having adage now that this is new concept. You understand? So I don't have to follow whatever you are saying, hook, line, and sinker. No. I should have another idea. With that, the society will have people whose talents will be brought in. And especially these young talents that we have seen. Although it's a Muslim Ummah program, it started like that. We said that why can't we expose our Muslim society, especially the youthful ones, so that we will develop their talents. They should start thinking. If you don't think, nobody will think for you. So you have to think and see what you can do for yourself.
Talking about thinking, you see, the whole world is driven today by think tanks. Unfortunately, this is an area where the Muslim Ummah is actually lagging behind. I can remember reading in the last 12 years in one of the books that in America there were not less than 110 think tanks on Islam. They only think about how they research and study what potentials Islam has, in deterring the American general interest. They think, they do researches. Unfortunately, of course, we were also inspired by the statements of Malcolm Gladwell in his Tipping Points, I think, when he talks about every society needs 3 categories of people. In the Islamic work, we need these categories of people. The Marvins, he calls them, the thinkers, the planners. We need think tanks. Not everybody must do everything. We need to have people whom we can build the capacity, people whose capacity we should build so that they will be able to think and plan for the Ummah, observing issues, reading books, caged in their own studies, doing researches and developing models that the Muslim Ummah will use. Unfortunately, this is not what the Islamic work is doing much. The second category, of course, are the connectors, he says, and then the implementers. Whatever, the most important thing is that aspect of thinking, and this is what we have been doing. So in CYD discussion forum, we did one of the discussions on, of course, we discussed issues of Al-Majiri, the role of women in society, economy, politics, and da'wah. We discussed different issues. But when we came to discuss waqf and zakah, it led to a very important development, which was, everybody was unanimous that there was a need for zakah and waqf institutions in Nigeria. Unfortunately, as at the time, a few states have them, about 8 to 10 states government owned. But we need private organizations mobilizing zakah, educating the people about zakah, and then mobilizing waqf and educating the society, doing researches on waqf. And we agreed there that we will establish the Zakah and Waqf Foundation. Alhamdulillah, we are doing well there.
Yes, while Nibras Entrepreneur Society is a private sector driving means of development, Zakah and Waqf is a charitable way of addressing some of the problems of the society. We have read and seen that society is standing on 3 legs. One leg is the public leg, which is government. The second leg is the private sector leg, which is businesses and other private corporations. The third leg is the plural society, and that is the community development driving society. Look at what you can do, look at what capacities you can deliver and do. As a result of that, we established Zakah and Waqf Foundation, at least so that especially women, widows, bereft women, vulnerable groups, like women, can you talk us about the Wadata Cooperative Society of the women that are given 10,000 each?
Yeah, you see, the issue is we have been talking about the public, what the government can do. But others are talking about the private sector, which the Muslims are also nowhere to be found. The banks don't belong to us. You know, the insurance companies do not belong to us. In the capital market, we are not there, and so on. The microfinance banks and so on and so forth. Private sector, the manufacturing industries and so on, we are not there. But also, so the public sector, this is it. The private sector. But we thought of another, which is the philanthropic sector. And so if others are talking about PPP, public-private partnership, we're talking about PPPP from the Islamic economics point of view. Public, private, and philanthropic partnership. So here we say Zakah and Waqf Foundation. In the foundation, we do the educational, the awareness, the sensitization aspect about the importance of Zakah, lectures, discussions, researches, and publications. But we also do mobilization of Zakah and Waqf. And people make contributions. The good thing is we initiated programs. One of the most impactful programs is the Women Empowerment Program. The Women Empowerment Program, we said, okay, let us start a simple model. We started with about 20 women. We'll give them 10,000 naira capital. Of course, most of them widows, or those who can fall within the definition, you know, the less privileged anyway. We give them 10,000 naira and say, okay, come. Every 2 weeks, come to our office. Identify a business you can do. Come to our office after every 2 weeks. We have a presentation for you, lectures on different aspects of life, financial literacy, how to develop your own talent, your children, issues that women, these types of women have no access to information about. We give them 10,000 and we said, okay, go and do some business around your own area. Whatever you are able to generate, use 1/3, divide it into 3, use 1/3 to solve your immediate problem, keep one as, you know, saving at home for things that may come up, and then after 2 weeks, as you come, bring the 1/3. We now formed a fund for them where they will come and be keeping this amount. Interestingly, after 3-4 weeks, we realized this is working. After 2 months, we gave additional 30, we gave additional 50, they become 100, and then it was working. We said, okay, another 100, it was working, another 100. We started in 2019, January, despite coronavirus. You know, but alhamdulillah, it is working. Some of them, after about 8 months, had saved 50,000 naira with us from the 10,000. Some 20, some 30, some 80,000 naira. Most of them had already taken their children back to school, because it's an information they never had, that you can take your child back to school, that you can produce the next Dangote if it is economy. You can produce the next this president, the next governor, the next sheikh, even though you think you cannot do it. Now, this hope that was built in them, they were able to now start to think they can do it. Alhamdulillah, when we realized that some of them had reached some level, we said, okay, we will take you to the next level. We now said, okay, whoever has been able to save so amount, 30,000 naira with us, 32,000 naira can now register. We registered a cooperative society for them because we believe in the power of cooperative societies. So we formed Wadata Multipurpose Cooperative Society. We carefully chose the name Wadata, that you have started to, you know, tread the path of Wadata. You have started moving from poverty to prosperity, and later you will move to, you know, philanthropy. So alhamdulillah, about many of them, 100,000, more than that, alhamdulillah.
You know, if you have the opportunity of meeting the Turkish or Bangladeshis or Pakistanis, you will have a feel that they are having perpetual charities. Awqaf, they have waqaf. I used to think, I say, in Gombe, even though Gombe is relatively a new settlement in its place here, just in 1919, so barely 100 years here. But I used to think and say, which one is a legacy that is 70 years in Gombe? Which one is a legacy that is maybe a building or whatever that is 100 years or whatever? Maybe I will only think of the Islamiyoi, the Usman Memorial, and the rest. These are the things that I can only remember. But if you discuss with Turkish or the Pakistanis, they will tell you that they have they have perpetual charities that are 500 years that they have. You understand? So I had my PhD in Malaysia, and these are part of what we used to discuss. If you meet with some of them, they will tell you that they have this and that, they have that, and you look at, people don't know even what is waqf. You understand? We know Sadaqatul Jariyah, you understand, but we do not know the word waqf. So what was done towards that, please?
Yeah, what we have been doing in this regard is, as I've said, we in Zakah and Waqf Foundation have engaged a number of experts, and we develop, trainings on Waqf, and then we invited people to make Waqf either in cash, through cash Waqf, or the in-kind waqf, which is property and so on. And alhamdulillah, people began, because they didn't know it, we developed this pamphlet that we shared here, Learn Waqf in 3 minutes, so that people will be introduced to what is waqf. And then we develop modules of training on waqf, its fiqh aspect, its history, and its economics, how we can use waqf to drive away poverty from our society. And alhamdulillah, this has been working. The good thing is, even those who benefited from the intervention of our foundation, these women that were given 10,000 naira, some of them have made some contribution towards waqf from what they have been generating. So we are, in other words, experiencing a sort of waqf reawakening or waqf revolution in Gombe.
The poet says, okay, so some of your solutions may be within you. كالإيس في البيضاء يأكلها الظما والماء فوق ظهورها محمول. ومن العجائب والعجائب جمة ومن العجائب والعجائب جمة قرب الدواء وما إليك وصول. So the example I want to give is a researcher said, if the zakat of Muslim wealth that are in the Muslim banks in the Gulf countries could be calculated, it's worth trillions of dollars. So if our potentialities to give zakat in Nigeria, by the nature of our deposits in the banks, we that do not have and they have, and our millionaires, you understand? If you can intensify the efforts of zakat giving, now we are talking about Al-Majiri. We would have gone beyond Al-Majiri. We would have done many projects if at all this zakat will be implemented. So some of the solutions are with us. Just look around and see how you can capture.
Actually, you see, talking about waqf and zakat, the World Bank conducted a study in 2016 first, United Nations, World Bank 2019, and they found that if the Muslim communities in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia in particular and the Middle East will mobilize the zakah and waqf, they said even if partly, that will be sufficient to address the problem of poverty. This is based on study, and they said zakah and waqf in particular can address all the issues, all the concerns raised by the Sustainable Development Goals. Anyway, the Ummah has done this, and we have used, as I've said, cooperative societies. But one very important thing that the Ummah has done is the cooperative societies established by the Ummah in all our higher institutions, including the one in Gombe State University, that saved the situation of the Ummah. When we were faced with the challenge of no funds to support people to go for their higher education in the competitive Gombe that you know, when state fund it did not start, and others were even blocking the chance of Muslims, we said, no, we can't wait. And we established Murabaha Multipurpose Cooperative Society, and the rest is history. Through Murabaha Cooperative Society, we will give at that time, the last 12 years, we will give someone 500,000 naira, and he will start his education, that is, go for his research. Before TED Fund, he will fill in the form, they will say, you have to wait until after 2 years. We say, wait for the 2 years while you are undergoing your research, take your 500 to 101 million naira, go and start. When your money is ready, he has finished his masters, he comes back, he collects the money, and then he uses it to go for, and this gives us the advantage that we now have in the university.
Now, the Muslim Ummah structure that we have in Gombe State is that of branches. We have branches in all higher institutions. We have 2 universities, we have 2 colleges of education, we have 2 polytechnics, and we have 1 federal college of horticulture. In all the institutions, we have Muslim Ummah branch, which has 2 types of deductions from the salaries of each member. One deduction goes to the account of the Muslim Ummah of that branch. The other deduction goes to an Islamic finance cooperative society established in that institution. By the Ummah. So that gives us a kind of leverage in terms of our activities as well as develop, because people are seeing that it is helping them financially, it is helping their economic status. In Gombe State University, we have, as he said, we have Murabaha, a cooperative society. In federal education, we have interest-free Interfrec, interest-free cooperative society. In Federal Teaching Hospital, we have Al-Ihsan Cooperative Society. All these are the biggest cooperative societies that we have, and they are boasting into millions of naira. If you see their turnover, you will think that this is the turnover of a microfinance bank. And it is within our thinking that, inshallah, sooner or later, we will be moved to establish a microfinance society for the benefit of the society. Now,
Alhamdulillah. So you can see we have cooperative societies. We have for general cooperative societies. We have for the women, Wadata Women Multipurpose Cooperative Society. We have those concentrating in higher institutions. We also have Tanzim recently, Investment Cooperative Society for others. Yep. In addition, we have also specialized cooperative Demal, which is also Ummah, all owned by members of Ummah Demal Agricultural Cooperative Society. And of course, the good thing is our brothers have also invested in the educational sector. No. We felt that many of the people in Ummah have now gone into the education. Many schools, the best schools are those of Ummah. In essence, what we are saying is that while we can wait for government to do some of the things, there are a number of things we should be able to do for ourselves, which will even help us to have people who can agitate, well, so that we can have what the government should be doing for us.
All this didn't come by accident. 4 years ago, when we come at the mantle of the leadership of the Muslim Ummah, we requested to see the Muslim Ummah constitution. And when we saw that document, we found that it is a very fantastic document. If it will be implemented, then many of our problems will go. We said what we do is plan first. Idea, plan. If you plan, it means inshallah you will succeed. We learned that the National Ummah has a mid-term, long-term plan. And we requested one of those that we were told developed the plan was Malam Nur Sani Hanga. We invited him here. We went to him in Kano and we invited him to come to Gombe so that he will see our plans. And alhamdulillah, all what you are hearing now or what you are seeing is a fruit of such a plan. So what we are encouraging our brothers in all other places is that nothing just come like that. As he paraphrased Dr. Usman Bagaji, that you don't wait for what you deserve. You understand? You bargain for. Part of this bargain that is very, very important is that in our institutions, universities or colleges of education, we do lobby. We are the lecturers, we are the professors, we are the doctors. How will you allow just anybody to come and become the vice chancellor or become the registrar or become... How could that happen? We don't allow that. We make groups, we do lobby, we work within the search team, we do a lot of things. We don't allow things just like that to pass under our nose while we will be able to make a lot of change. So time has gone, and alhamdulillah, this is just a bit. ما كان حديث يفترى ولكن تصديقا لما بين يديه وتفسير الكتاب لا ريب فيه رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
الحمد لله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, the Ummah branch of Gombe was given these few minutes to share their experience with the Umara and the Ummah members so that we can exchange ideas, and hopefully some of these ideas could be transferred to some other branches, inshallah. And I think they can be available for any branch to be invited. maybe to add more light or shed more light so that we will be succeeding gradually in all our branches, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum and jazakumullah khairan. May Allah continue to bless our efforts, inshallah. We are sorry because of the time. That's why they wanted 1 hour.